Hello everyone and welcome back to another Minecraft How To. This time we're gonna look at some villager houses. Before we do that, let's get over the rules one more time. So each one of these buildings need to be built in one chunk, and all the buildings need to have their primary goal and primary functions that in this case needs to be a housing for a villager. So going at the first one, this is probably my least favorite of the bunch, but it's just a fun idea that you could actually look further into. Is by using the functional block for a certain villager, you can maybe make a small village of all the different blocks that you need for villagers, in this case being all of these blocks like the loom, smithing table, the fletching table. So just like rebuild those and make small village out of them, and all the different kind of blocks. And inside of the blocks you can have all the traders that do that, like this. Or I think they're kind of blinded by the slab, which is, that's fair, because I would also be blinded if I get a slap in my face. But maybe keep some more space open using trapdoors instead of slabs, and that should work just fine. Some of these guys can actually see their brewing stand, so I don't know why it sometimes works and why it doesn't work, but it's kind of funny to see. But just in general, the build itself is, as you can see, just a very wide brewing stand, because if you mimic the brewing stand itself, you will see that there's only 2 pixels. And it's very hard to work with only 2 blocks for a building, so I decided to widen it just a tiny bit. What you could do instead of using the middle part as your building is that you could indeed make it smaller, so that's only 2 blocks wide, but then have your villagers in the compartments that are around the brewing stand. But that's only for the brewing stand anyway. If you want to use the smithing table or the loom, you have plenty of room in just a big cube. But for the brewing stand itself, yeah, there's 2 ways you can go on and do that. For the build itself, there's not really much to say about it, and try to mimic all the pixels and the colors on the brewing stand itself. Try to mimic the form as well. That's why it looks so flimsy here and there, because it's just a big reconstruction of the brewing stand itself. But other than that, there's not really that much going on. You could use concrete instead of glass, but I try both, and I think I prefer glass a little bit better, but it's more of a personal opinion. And at night it has enough light for the entire building. There won't be any monsters spawning here because these slabs are placed on the bottom half of the block, and mobs can't spawn on like a bottom slab. So if the entire building is made with bottom half slabs or with trapdoors, then don't worry about it. There won't be any monsters spawning inside your buildings at all. Then next up is maybe think about a magical forest, or maybe you just like having a market, and in the middle of your market is a big tree. This worked for that as well. There are different kind of villagers. Maybe these are like your most important villagers. You have your librarian, some toolsmiths for all of your diamond tools, and some fishermen because you like to fish or something. So yeah, you can basically pick whatever villager you want for these. They all work very well in this build, and the build itself is very easy to make as well. It's just a tree and all the decorational parts and functional blocks for your favorite villagers. The villagers can't escape simply because there's a trapdoor beneath the fence here, and that causes the block height to be 1.8 blocks high instead of 2, and the villagers itself are 2 blocks high. Our character is apparently 1.8, so we can just walk underneath that because you're just a tiny bit tinier than your average villager. If you look at the build itself, you could really play around with what kind of tree you want. Maybe you want a bigger tree, maybe you want a smaller tree. I'm not quite sure if smaller is much possible, but you can play around with it. You can play around with which kind of logs you want, you can play around with which kind of leaves you want. This is a very customizable design, and at night you don't have to worry at all about your villagers getting hit, except maybe by skeletons, but those are details, right? I don't think skeletons actually hit villagers. First zombies hit villagers, but I'm not quite sure about skeletons. I think they don't really care about villagers that much. No, they seem to be very chill about it. Yeah, they seem to be chilling. The zombies do want to kill the villagers though, but as you can see, the village is pretty safe from the zombie, as the zombie is also 2 blocks high. And yeah, so your villagers are fine, they're just fighting for their life. However, we still have the problem with the baby zombies. If you want to make sure that the baby zombies can't hit your villagers, you could either remove this part and put slabs around your thing. So maybe something like this, right? Don't really make it uglier and make it go all around, of course. Or you could put trapdoors on top of this as well. And I think that makes it a little bit too high for the baby zombies to jump on top of it, which also makes sure that your villagers are safe and well. Then next up is it's more of a classic blacksmithing building, where you have all of your toolsmiths and all of your blacksmiths. Building itself is very, well, I would say almost easy, very classic Minecrafty as well. And if you're wondering why the roof looks like that, I thought it might be fun to have a different kind of chimney. So you know the chimneys normally have like out of the smoke more in the back, but I thought maybe because this is like a blacksmith, they use all of chemicals and all the smoke. So maybe why not have an opening in the middle of the roofing that let out all the smoke instead of like your average chimney. Now, other than that, there's not really that much going on in this building. It's a very simple design. To make sure your villagers don't escape from this area, there's a couple of things that you can do to prevent that. One being, of course, having a wall, but you could also have carpet over some berry bushes. The villagers will only see those berry bushes and they see it as a dangerous place to go on, so they won't bother going over the carpet because they think they'll get hurt. So this kind of solves the problem of villagers escaping. Another way you can do that is with fences. Inside you'll see that we got a beautiful blacksmith going on with all different kind of minecarts with furnaces as decoration, as well as some storage places, maybe for their tools, and big fire for all of their smithing. We got some anvils here that also has a railroad track going inside this burning place of a smelter, where they push their minecarts in, get heated up, and then pull them back out, get the perfect tool just for you. But it still has that very rusty feel to it. If you're wondering where all their workbenches are at, well, they're standing on top of it. The smithing tables are made one with the floor, which works extremely well with the cracked deep slate tiles and normal deep slate tiles. And it's just a big one unison, and it also kind of keeps the villagers in place as they are tend to go back to their workshop now and then. So sometimes you will see them like to go stand on top of their workshop. You can see like these guys just like stand on all their cubes like little chess pieces. Now, small tip: if you use a furnace, make sure to add some burn blocks behind it. So if you really look back here, you'll see that there's some darker colored blocks here and there, which is of course logical as they are burning parts of their walls. Yeah, there you go. So it looks like the back of it is being burned down. I tried to use coal, but apparently coal can get burned away if it's right next to fire. Did not know that. I don't know why I didn't know that coal burns if it's next to fire. It makes absolute sense. But for some reason I just completely forgot about that fact. Yeah, looking at this at night, you will see that it's your standard building. It has light inside of it, but it's pretty safe from mob. Also, mobs don't know how to go over these carpets, but they might go over these trapdoors and kill your villagers. Or what you could also do is you add some berry bushes all around your area. So if you add a layer of berry bushes, let me just show you, and you will take some moss blocks or moss carpet. You could just do something like this, and you put the carpet all around and do this for the entire place. And then it doesn't really matter that you leave the trapdoor because the mob won't go over these carpets neither, because they're very bushy that they see that as dangerous. And last but not least, we got our Fisherman's hut here, which has the face of a fish, like an angler fish. It also has an angler which caught a small fish. It's more of a creative design in comparison to the other buildings, but I really like this design. It gives a very fantasy vibe to it, and I prefer building something like this because it's a tiny bit more creative. So it's somewhat of a mechanical fit for the building, with all the copper and wood and stone, and more of a mechanical, like maybe it's tiny steampunky vibe, I would almost say. With the chimney here that releases all the fumes, and some wires here and there connected to invisible chickens, which are not necessary, but I thought they were a cute little detail. Once you enter this building, you'll notice there's a small place here for all your fishing stuff. So maybe you like to fish, then you can go here and go fish and then trade with your villagers in here. Or you can store all your stuff in the barrels in the front. Once inside, you'll notice that it's a little fish shop. If I would make it in my single player world, I would maybe extend the fish a little bit more, so it's like an entire fish instead of just a head. But of course I can't do that here because we only have one chunk to work with. Inside the workshop, you'll notice some more barrels and chests for your storage, but also some big fish you once caught and want to have put it on display. There's some boats here that you can use, but of course we are working with villagers, so they're absolutely idiotic and go sit in the boats themselves. I'm not sure what you can do against that. Those are just villagers. Villagers are kind of stupid sometimes. Yeah, you should live with that, I guess. Other than that, it's a very charming small fisher's shack where you can keep all your fishing gear and do all of your trading. But yeah, it worked quite well. I just found these villagers in, so that's probably why they didn't take a job yet. Or maybe I need to pay some more barrels. They actually know what their job is. Come on, man, take your job. Why are you not taking a job? Thank you. Okay, there we go. So we got some jobs here. And now the villagers all have their own job except for this one because he doesn't like to work, which I get. Then at night you will see that it's quite dark from the outside, but from the inside it's very light. There's tons of lanterns, and from the outside it has only the light where the eyes are. So on both sides it's a little bit lit up, but other than that it's quite dark, which is fine. It shouldn't be a problem. If you really want to have some more light, you can obviously place some lights in there, but I think I like it this way. And there you have it. Those are my 4 ideas on how to make a villager housing. I hope you guys have some inspiration out of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.